Hey, what's up, everybody? Thunderfist 1978 coming at you here on a Monday evening. Hope everybody's had a great day so far. So my initial plan for tonight was to go back to E7, but earlier today I heard the news that Yoshihisa Kishimoto, who was the creator of the Kunio-kun and Double Dragon series, passed away a few days ago at the age of 64, and partly due to the fact that that his games were some of the ones I played the most in my own childhood. I felt like I really needed to dedicate tonight's stream to him. Now, one game I'm not going to be able to stream that I really wish I could is one of his earlier Laserdisc games, which is called Cobra Command. That one did get a port for the Sega CD, and I do have it. Unfortunately, my Polymega controller is not able to charge right now. And without that, I wouldn't be able to really play it properly. So I want to go ahead and mention that one, and just mention that although we're not going to get to play it tonight, I do acknowledge the game, and one of these days we might actually give it a play. He also produced a game called Road Blaster, which is also a Laserdisc game. Now, it's not to be confused with Road Blasters, plural, which is a standard arcade driving game that Atari Games put out back in 1987. This is a totally different game I'm talking about. But Yoshihisa Kishimoto is mostly known for revolutionizing the beat-em-up genre. And he said in interviews that a lot of the reason he came up with games like Renegade and Double Dragon, etc., were the fact that he was a bit of a scrappy kid when he was in school. So this game right here was the first of his beat-em-ups, and it's pretty well known in Japan and in Europe. Little less so here in the U.S., but I remember seeing the arcade game and playing it back in the 80s. So basically,
Good luck, kid.
it's very much inspired by the Warriors, which this particular port of it, I should say, is. The original game was highly based on Kishimoto-san's childhood. Adolescence, I should say. But basically, the protagonist, who is he's actually the titular Kunio of the Kunio-kun series. His brother's been getting picked on by all these mostly high school gangs, and he's gotten sick of it, and he's standing up for his brother. Now that's changed a bit in the Western port, where you're mostly fighting street gangs and trying to rescue your lady fair, if you will. But yeah, you can probably really see the what's what I'm looking for. You could probably see the Warriors written all over this one. The way it's presented. So in this stage, you have to knock several bikers off their bikes before the dudes who are not riding bikes will come out and attack you. And that's when the stage truly begins in earnest. Now, like the last stage, you're able to knock the enemies into the water, and thus off the screen. Much like you didn't see me do it in the last stage, but if you knock an enemy off the subway platform, it's an automatic KO. But the drawback there is if that happens to you, then that's an automatic KO on you. So you want to avoid that happening to you at all costs. The biggest enemy that you have in this game is not so much the enemies themselves, it's the time limit. And you know, and see, unlike Double Dragon, this is a game that plays in multiple loops, and as you play through the various loops, the bosses have more and more health, which means that time limit really starts to work against you. All right, cool. I got the maximum points. Ah, Kim. Well, that's what she's called. That's what she's called outside Japan. Yeah, the nail bat wielders here are the tougher gang members. That's why I'm trying to get rid of them quickly. The chain wielders are actually really easy to get rid of. Like one knockdown and they're done. Dang it. Now some people like to use back kicks on her when she dashes. I've always preferred to go with jump kicks. But the more health she's got, the more that timer is working against you. Because at her size, you can't really fight her the same way that you fight the other bosses. You know, you gotta be. Uh-oh. Oh my gosh. If she'd had any more health, I'd have gotten a game over by timeout. Now these guys, these are actual Yakuza members in the Japanese version. And as you can see, they have knives. One stab will end you. So you've really got to be careful when you fight these guys. See what I mean? Now, one thing you might also have noticed is they can't run. So that's something you can potentially use to your advantage. Okay, that's 2 of them down. And now we move on to the boss. Sabu. Now he has a gun. But as you just saw, grappling him is possible. The rest of the bosses cannot be grappled until you've weakened them significantly. And that's the end of the game. I died. Oh right, we gotta go back to the menu. Okay, let's see. Which one are we gonna play next? Well, we can go to Double Dragon because I mean Renegade didn't really catch on in the U.S. At least not initially. But Double Dragon, when that came out, everyone took notice. You know, it was what really set it apart was number one, the 2-player simultaneous play, which wasn't available in Renegade. And then there's also the fact that, as you probably noticed in Renegade, you can't disarm the enemies. In this game, you can. You can use their weapons against them. But by the way, that scene where Marion gets captured at the beginning, it never really I never really paid much attention to it when I was a kid. But when I saw what happened to her in Double Dragon 2, oh my gosh, it was, as a kid, I couldn't believe what I had just seen. But we'll get to that one later. This is a game I saw everywhere. You know, the first time I ever played it was at one of the really popular arcades in my area. I didn't get I think this is about as far as I got when I was a kid. But, well, the first time I played it, I should say. Later on, I was able to get further. But, yeah, that first play, I did not make it to the first Linda. So I'm not going to pick up the whip. If you scroll the screen little by little, you could possibly. Okay, good. I was trying to get the Williams on the screen so I could disarm him quick. That's going to make the Abobo a lot easier to deal with. Because if you're just dealing with him, whether you've got the bat or whether you're unarmed, he's so much easier to deal with if he's by himself. And when he starts falling away from you, it means he's weakened. All the boss characters, well, higher health characters, I guess I should say, which involves pretty much everyone save for Roper here, Williams, and Linda. They will fall towards you at first. No. Great. Good. Okay, now Roper's gonna go after that oil drum. Basically, what differentiates Williams and Roper from each other is Roper has that vest on with the spikes, and Williams wears just a simple T-shirt. Although it is noteworthy that Roper can pick up weapons like oil drums and stuff and throw them at you. Williams can't do that. He can only use weapons like bats, knives, and dynamite. He can't pick up the heavy stuff. There's a Roper. And he's chucking dynamite. It's best not to pick up the dynamite. Because, like if the enemy picks it up, then it'll reset its detonation time. But if you pick it up, you're not shown the same courtesy. Oh, now Williams is throwing dynamite. Okay, so that's a sleeveless shirt he's wearing. But that's Williams. So another thing worth noting, there are two big guys in this game. You might have noticed that earlier. Some of them are bald-headed. Others have full beards and mohawks. The Mohawk guys are called Jick. Nobody's really sure where that name comes from, but I think some sources have him going by the name Jack Abobo. So it's possible that Jack was the name he was supposed to have. We don't know that 100% for sure. But the bald-headed guys are Abobos. The only real difference between them as far as their fighting is Jicks tend to be quicker, and they have a double-handed clap, which the Abobos can't use. But Abobos can pick up heavy objects like boulders and throw them at you. And then both of them have this dreaded attack where they can grab you and just throw you over their shoulder. And if they get you in that configuration, there's no way out of it. You just have to hope you have enough health to get up and are able to fight back better once you do. All right, Linda. Enough of that whip. I said enough of the whip. Whew. I'll tell you what, Linda is so deadly with that whip in Battletoads Double Dragon. A bit less so in the standard Double Dragon series. And she's got a whip of her own. And here comes the boss of the stage, Jeff. Uh-oh. No! They're gonna get the bat. Made things a whole lot more complicated. Ow. Ooh! Lucky combo. No. This is bad. Okay, we got rid of Linda. No! Okay, I refuse. I refuse to accept that. Now that slowdown is the speed that the original game ran at, so that's not any kind of bug in the emulation. Now, when this got ported to the 360, they cleaned up the slowdown substantially. But the original game, anyone who's played it will attest to the fact that it did in fact run as slowly as you saw it run earlier when there was a large number of characters on the screen. Like if there's 4 characters on the screen, that slowdown is what you would normally see in the game. And that's something that people really appreciated being cleaned up in the sequel, in Double Dragon 2. Even though some people really didn't like how similar it was to the first game. Like how it had just about all the same weapons, you know, drawn differently, of course. And the backgrounds were much the same. Okay, good. Wasn't sure if I was going to pull that off or not, getting Williams onto the screen without a Bobo. But yeah, so that's something that was really improved in the sequel, is that you didn't experience the slowdown that you see in this game. All right, a Bobo. Take a nap. Now, see, it's best to just hang back and deal with Roper one-on-one, because if you go much further, then Jick will come onto the screen before you've even dealt with this Roper. But as soon as that Roper's gone, then he'll show up. Now, see, it's interesting to me that a Bobo would be able to pick up that oil drum, but Jick cannot. But it seems to me like he does that a whole lot more often than a Bobo does. A Bobo can do it. Now you see that little double clap that he did? A Bobo cannot do that. Dang it. Okay, good. Williams was the one I really wanted to hit with that, so I could get my bat back. I remember one of the earlier times I beat Jick. It was by repeatedly picking up an oil drum and throwing it into him. But in order to take that bat to the next level, you have to jump, because your character, whether you're playing as Billy or Jimmy, is gonna drop it no matter what. But if you position yourself right, he'll drop it into the next stage and you'll be able to pick it up again. The only point where you cannot do that is when you're going into Willie's base. There's no way out of, you can't take your bat in there regardless. You'll see that a little later, assuming I play better this time around. Now, see, I read that Yoshihisa Kishimoto did do some things with Double Dragon 3 on the NES, but he was not involved in the arcade game of Double Dragon 3. Which, honestly, I would have been surprised if he was, because Technos was not involved in that game. I forget the name of the company that put it out, but it was not Technos. Of course, you know, it's kind of hit or miss whether people would really want it as part of a collection or not. I kind of feel like some of the ones who say they want it might be trolling. But the general consensus is that Double Dragon 3 was like a really poor idea with its microtransactions. And what I mean by that is, okay, I really don't understand why the Lindas are acting like they're gonna go after the whip, and then they just double back without really trying for it. Give me the bat. Give me the bat. Crack that whip at me. I could be wrong, but I think if you take out both the Lindas before taking out the Roper, I think I think there's like 2 Williamses that come out, and the Williamses have more health than Roper has. Great. Williams got the bat. You gimme that. Looks like Linda's stuck. No! Yeah, see, Jeff uses the same techniques you do. Well, there went Linda. Now, see, once you beat Jeff, you want to position yourself on the elevator. Reason being, it enables you to drop the bat so that you can pick it back up in the next level. Otherwise, you're going to have to fight a Roper for one. Okay, no, not Roper, Williams. But yeah, you'd have to fight that Williams right there and get his bat. But if you position yourself right, you can just take your own bat into the next level, which makes these guys much easier to deal with. Come on. Okay, so it is a Roper. The reason that's significant... Okay, good. Scrolled that bat off the screen. Ow. No. If I can't have one, I'm gonna get the other and then decimate you with that. Okay, good. Linda. You just keep her at a distance. Now you gotta be careful staying to the bottom of the screen here because there are holes coming up, and if you fall in, then you lose a life. But you can also get rid of enemies if you knock them in. Some of these guys have knives. And it's interesting in the NES game, like if they have dynamite or a knife, they only ever carry one of them. But in the arcade game, they can keep throwing knives or dynamite until they're disarmed. Like, see right there, Williams can't throw any more knives right now. But if he picks that knife up, then he'll be able to throw as many as he can unless you disarm him again. Like, literally, he'll throw a knife. If he hits you with it, he'll throw another one immediately after if he can. Okay, this one does not have a knife. But the timer's kind of working against me here, so I'll knock this dude in the hole. And here comes a Bobo. Been a little bit since we saw him last. And now see, you can either knock the Abobo in the hole, or there's a broken bridge coming up. It's also instant death if he falls in the water, or if you fall in the water. Apparently these guys were trained how to fight, but not to swim. Gotta be really careful here. Did I just knock him in a hole? Normally I wouldn't want to do that because that means I'm out points. He threw me in a frickin' hole. Probably did that deliberately. There, how do you like going in the hole? I did not need to lose that life, though. That just made things all pretty tricky for me as far as going on to beat this game. Especially the last level. There's a notoriously tricky area involving a brick wall. If you know, you know. I'll leave it at that. Okay, now it's just down to these two Abobos. And you know, and as you can see there, that one Abobo has picked up a boulder to throw. But we got rid of it. Uh-oh. Oh, wow. See, that's another case where you have to jump in order to crap. That I can't get back. We might come back to this a little later, but right now we're gonna check out the sequel, which I found out was not originally intended to be a sequel. See, some time back, I remember speaking with somebody on YouTube, and they said they had met Yoshihisa Kishimoto at a con and asked him why Marion had to die in Double Dragon 2. And it was rather interesting what he said in response. He said that Double Dragon 2 was actually not intended to be a sequel, but rather it was a retelling of the first game, with Marion dying at the beginning as opposed to being rescued at the end. And he said that the downer ending to this game, when I first watched that as a kid, I couldn't believe what I had just seen. But, you know, to an extent, I kind of like this game better than the first one. But it's not too often that you would have ever seen it around in arcades. But I did see it, even before going to Galloping Ghost Arcade, which has almost every arcade game you could ever dream of. I mean, there's a few games I saw growing up that they don't have, but this is not one of them. They do have this game. I don't know why I'm not getting any points with that flail. But that flail, it's like the whip in the original Double Dragon was not a weapon I would use a lot. But the flail is an amazing weapon. Okay, good to know you can just kick that off the screen. And those guys aren't going to pick it up. Only Linda would pick up flails. So those are Williams and Roper. As you saw, and Linda has a mohawk now. You can see just about every member of the Shadow Warriors has gotten some kind of makeover. And there's no Jick anymore. This guy's name is O'Hara. He's named after an Enter the Dragon character, much like Williams and Roper are. That, by the way, is Roper, if you hadn't figured it out. And the guys who do the cartwheels, those are Williamses. And then there's Linda. I'll take that. Excuse you. Now, as before, uh, ropers can pick up and throw the heavier weapons. Whether you wanna consider the crates heavier weapons or not, that's what they're classified as. And as you just saw, Lindas don't just carry whips and flails now. They can also carry knives. As can Williams's. I guess the only... Ooh! I forgot he had a shovel. The shovel functions like the baseball bat, but as you just saw, it can be thrown as well as being swung. And then this guy's name is Burnoff. I'll go ahead and just fight this dude hand to hand. You might remember Burnoff from the NES game doing that, like pulling the disappearing act. Now, he doesn't always come back, but sometimes he does. In the NES version, he always comes back, but in this game, he only comes back sometimes. And then this is the Abobo type character, but he goes by Bolo in this. That's another thing I like about this game is that each character has different death screams. Well, maybe that'll teach you not to stand around hand grenades next time, Linda. And whatever that big iron ball is supposed to be, it's now out of play. So we don't have to worry about that anymore. Now, see, one thing that makes this game harder than the original is you cannot get extra lives via points like you can in the original game. In the original game, you got an extra life at 30,000, and then you would keep getting them every 60,000 after that. Which means you pretty much would only get 2 extra lives unless you had a friend playing with you who lets you use his character as a punching bag to keep getting points. I know I personally, my highest scores in the game have been right around 100,000 points or so. This area has proven to be excuse you. I guess I shouldn't treat it as a safe space until after a bore or a bore, whatever the correct pronunciation of that dude's name is, comes out and then takes a dive. But yeah, this is who I'm talking about. Say hello to the inspiration for Andre the Giant as he appears in WWF Superstars. That's not an exaggeration. When the Superstars game came out, he was literally Andre the Giant in that game was literally a modified Abore sprite. But of course he has he has kind of a working man's Terminator look to him. You know, people have noted he's got what looks to be red eyes under his sunglasses. And he will absolutely decimate you with those chops. And if he's able to, he can also hit you with a shoulder tackle. I remember the first time I ever saw someone fight him in an original arcade cabinet. I thought what I was hearing him call out when he did the tackles was "Atsu," but it's more like "Ifu." More what you'll hear out of him. In any case, now we move on to the wheat field, which is more or less like the forest stage in the first game. All right, Williams is down. Looks like punches are a bit safer to use in this than I first would have thought. And I just noticed you do get points off using knives. Now, see, in the original arcade game, instead of those big white marks coming up, they are very clearly red, and the implication is very clear in that. But if you notice, the color schemes of the brothers are changed. Like Billy has wears like lighter color blue, and his eyes are a lighter color blue in the original game, and Jimmy wore red. In this, he wears white. I feel like that's probably just to make them show up better, given the kinds of backgrounds that they were working with in the game. Oops. Honestly, I have always liked this well, I don't know if I would say I've always liked this game better, but for a lot of years, I have favored this game over the original. It just feels more polished to me. Even with the left and right attack taking the place of the punch and kick buttons. I kind of feel like the directional attacks works better because you have the option of doing back kicks, which they have pretty decent range. And 2 hits and the enemy's down. Although with some enemies, like the bigger enemies that have a lot more reach, I feel like punches work better with them. I knew that was going to happen. And there's Jeff. Who looks almost identical to how he looked in the first game. Gotcha! Managed to get him messed up by the combine. I've never beaten this one in one credit, whereas I can beat the first one in one credit. Which I feel like the extra lives you can get in the first game are really to thank for that. Ooh. You got any more grenades? Haha, the cows are mooing. Nice little touch. Oh. Uh-oh, my time's running out. And now I gotta fight 2 burn-offs. It's better to fist fight these guys. One of them's gonna come back, I think. See, I was ready for you. I used to use back kicks on the burn-offs, but I've come to realize it's actually safer to just punch them. Now we got Bolo coming at us. I really don't want Chin Taime coming after us while one of these Bolos is on the screen. I want to get rid of both of them if I can. Well, looks like that's a no-go. Oh my gosh, he will destroy you with those sticks. And he just did me. All right, let's see here. No, I guess I don't have any more of his games on Arcade Archives. Not that I can think of. But there's several of them in the... This is the Kunio-kun, the World Classics collection that we're going to next. Which I'm not sure exactly how many of these he was involved with, but I believe he was involved with all the Double Dragon games on here, as well as Super Spike. Yeah, I think he was involved with Super Spike Volleyball, but I'm not sure if that's on here or not. Let's see. I think that might be Nintendo World Cup. I know that is a soccer game. And that's the unreleased Crash and the Boys. No, wait, that might be it. One of them is basically... okay, that's River City Ransom. That's Super Dodgeball. Oh. Now wait. Oh, I see. So they do have the English releases of several of the games. So we're going to start off with Renegade because, you know, this game does play a little bit differently than the, okay. This does play a little bit differently than the arcade version. Not a whole lot different, but you will notice some differences as we go along. It's like, you know, the beat 'em up mechanics are still there. You still have the ability to knock enemies off the subway platform, at least in this stage. But there are some, like, you'll really start seeing differences in the second level. As if going into the subway car in this level wasn't enough of a difference. See, this is something different. You didn't go into any subway cars in the original game. And you know, your health recovers once you go into the subway car, which is nice. Okay, now we gotta fight. This dude's name is Jack in the English version. And I would assume that's also his name in the arcade game. Although canonically he's actually Riki from the Kunio series. Riki is Kunio's biggest rival, but he's also the other playable character in River City Ransom. Would love to play that game for you guys, but I'm not so sure if Kishimoto-san had any involvement in it. Oh. Get lost, punk. That was my own fault. Much as I want to blame the game for it, but I can't. That was purely my own fault. Now, see, you cannot do that. You can't grapple with him until you've significantly weakened him. Otherwise, he'll just grab a hold of your collar and give you like 3 quick punches to the face. Now, see, here also you can knock the enemies into the water just like you could in the original arcade game. But if you notice, you're fighting these guys on foot without any motorcycle guys coming before them. What do you suppose is going on there? That guy just went flying into the drink. Don't worry about that high-pitched squeal. By the way, just like you saw that pea floating in midair, if you you can also find a heart floating in midair. If that happens and you pick it up, that's an extra life. So now we're starting to see some motorcycle goons. And just like in the arcade game, you got to knock several of these guys off their bikes in order to progress further. That's 3. Okay, I guess the magic number is 5. Yep. Now here's something different from the arcade game. You have to kick the other punks off their bikes. And used to have this much trouble. Forget how many guys you have to kick off the bikes. That's 7. Now see, in the NES game, it's A does the kicking, and then B is to use turbo if you manage to pick up a turbo power-up. We made it through there, now we have to face Joel. That's this dude's name. You might remember him from the first game. Same stuff before as with Jack. The only difference is you don't have the option of... Yeah, see, that's what happens if you try to grapple with Joel or Jack too early. They'll grab you by the collar and just punch you in the face. So instead of carrying nail bats, the lady punks that would be using those are swinging purses this time around. I'm not sure if it makes any kind of a difference which entrance you go in here or not. I know that in Mission 4, if you take the wrong entrance, it'll just kick you back to Mission 4, possibly even Mission 3. And then here's Kim. It's much easier to deal with her in this game, though, because you can just hit her with those dashing punches over and over. You'll take a unit out of her health every time you hit her with them. You try using those in the original Renegade, you're just asking to get flattened. So don't do that. guess you can't get any extra lives in this. Outside actually picking up the hearts that I mentioned earlier. It is refreshing that your 2-minute timer starts over every time you go to a different screen. That would suck if it didn't. Ooh. And we just got an extra life there. Thank goodness. You know, overall, this is an easier game than the arcade game, and it also ends unlike the arcade game. The arcade game just keeps going until you lose all your lives. But as you've noticed, there's no knife-wielding enemies that will end you in one hit. Okay, good. Now, in this building, it's kind of a maze. You have to make sure you take the right path. And I found the best path to be, go to the left first. I know Jack's a pain in the butt to deal with, especially when you got to deal with two of them at once. But once you take one of them out, the other one becomes much easier to deal with because you can just get him with those dash punches until he's had enough. Uh-oh. I'm usually better than this. I don't know how much input lag is playing into this or what. Get lost, punk! Now, see, interestingly enough, if you lose to Joel at the end of the second level, it pops up Jack's face and his dialogue. But if you lose to Joel in this level, then it pops up his face and the name Joel along with "Beat it, scum," which is what they say if you get beat up in the second level. Get lost, punk, in the arcade was what you would hear if you and yeah, when you got beat up in the arcade game, you would hear different dialogue depending on what level it was. Come on, dude. Okay, good. One Jack by himself is so much easier to deal with. Go in the left door. Now you fight a few punks on bikes. Why they would ride their bikes indoors, I don't know, but you want to take the door in the middle. More punks on bikes. I almost said bikes on punks. I don't know why. It's like I heard that in my head, but I changed it before I actually said it. Now, oh, there's one more, it looks like. But you want to take the door on the right here. And now you face Sabu. And he's by himself. It's nice to know he doesn't automatically shoot you. Oh. Okay, so he can break your hold if you try to grapple with him early. Yep, director Yoshihisa Kishimoto. And that's Renegade beaten. So we beat at least one of them tonight. Now, some of the games on here, you know, won't display the credits. Yeah, it's showing me some Arcade Archives titles that I bought earlier, letting me know that they're ready to be played. I thought the music ended eventually. But I remembered it ending in a different place. Let's check out Super Dodge. No, wait. I've seen contradictory reports on whether or not Kishimoto-san was involved in the NES port. Let's see. I'm not seeing that he was involved in Super Dodgeball on the NES. So I'm going to hold off on that one. Instead, we're going to check out the arcade game, which he was definitely involved with. You know, as a matter of fact, there's a Super Dodgeball cabinet in my area that I've gotten to play on a few times. And I always look forward to playing on that whenever I know I'm going to be there in the place where it is. Let's see. So in the original Japanese version, you're playing as two high school teams, and they're playing to see who will represent Japan in this international high school dodgeball tournament. But in the U.S. version, it's they're pro teams. One's from Dallas and one's from Chicago. And you play as the team from Dallas, basically playing for the opportunity to again represent the U.S. in this tournament. You got one player who's pretty much the captain. That's your large character. He's the one that's able to do to throw the strongest shots, if you will. Now we got to face a team from England. I do appreciate that the North American version is available in this. So now they get a second big guy, which is blatantly unfair. Ooh, well, thank you. Give it to you. Ooh. Still trying to figure out the timing for that frisbee shot. Well, he's gone. The good news is when a player of yours gets eliminated, that doesn't mean you lose that character for the rest of the game. They're just out of play for that particular match. And then you have to hope you can survive that particular match without them. Ow. Dude, do not get hit again. If he gets hit again, I'm going to lose him. Thank you. I can still win, especially since that big dude's all by himself now. Oh. Now I'm in trouble. And he's done. Is Iceland next? I think Iceland's next. Because I don't think India's in this game. Yeah. So the teams in the NES version that are not in the arcade game are India and Russia. All the rest of them are. In the Japanese version of this game, the U.S. is your final opponent. In the I don't know if it's this way everywhere outside Japan or what, but here in North America, the version we've got has Japan being your final opponent. Ooh. Oh, he got rid of him. I forget how far. No. I forget how far it is in the arcade that I've made it. It's either this team or China. That I'm wanting to say I have made it to China before. Oops. Good. Got one of them. I can just get this last dude. Nope, ball's too far over. Well, at least he got rid of my smaller guy. I'm going to run out of time. Ooh. Got him! Whew, 2 seconds to go. That was close. Pack your bags, boys. We're going to China. We've got 8 or 6 opponents we have to contend with. Wow. Oh, it did eliminate him. I was about to say, I was really surprised I didn't hear anybody scream out and get eliminated. Now see, this is really unfair. We've got to deal with 3 big dudes. Now it's all big guys left. Thank you. Got one of them. Two to go. 1 to go. Oops. Ow. Get him. Uh-oh. I cannot believe he's still standing after that. About time we use that to our advantage. Pack your bags, boys. We're going to Africa. Or they call it Kenya here. I was about to say, in some regions or some ROM revisions, they call it Kenya. Others, they just simply call it Africa. I know in the NES version, you have next to no traction on this particular court. I'll take that. Oh, they eliminated one of our guys. Uh-oh, now two of ours are gone. Say what? All right now. I have to ask you not to do that. All right, now I'm in trouble. I'm down to just my captain. And he's already taken a couple of hits. Oops. So they got a big guy on the outside. Got him! I can't believe it, you guys. I'm actually making it to Japan. Never done that before in this game. All right, boys, pack your bags. Time to face Japan in the World Championship. Hey, they are from Texas after all. Oh, wow, they're all big dudes. This is going to be a hard one to win. What? Why did he hit one of the guys on the outside? They're really good at catching the ball, too. I'm probably going to lose this one on count out or time running out. Ugh. Can you please stop catching the ball? Okay, I don't know what that was supposed to do. Whoa! How in the world are you supposed to win? I didn't eliminate a single one of them. Yeah, I might have happened differently if Huh. Yeah, we'll go ahead and upload that score. Now, Kishimoto-san did also have involvement with the 3 Double Dragon NES games, so we definitely need to look those up too. Or take a look at them, I should say. If you played an NES, odds are you're familiar with this port of Double Dragon. Interesting how the screen showing Marion getting kidnapped went away so quickly. Normally it doesn't. The whip is actually a pretty good weapon in this game. Like it gives you decent score towards getting moves and stuff. On top of having pretty good reach. I remember one player's guide I had years ago said to avoid it because it didn't give you any points. That's not true. By the way, you guys want to see a fun little trick you can do with that drum? Watch this. Oh. You got to try to get it so that Billy's feet appear to be in the wall. The story is that the drums thrown that way back in 1988 when this game came out are still heading upward today. How far do you think they are from the sun by this point? I mean, they were booking it. That thing was booking it pretty fast. Oops. And now we've got the jump kick. Every time you get a heart, you get a new move. When you get your second heart, you get the kick to the face and the uppercut. On the third star, you get the jump kick. But see, Williams and Roper cannot do jump kicks until you're able to do them. And there's a Bobo. It's always a Bobos in this game. There's never any Jicks. And mission 1's done. Opening screens go by so much faster too. Let's see. For 4 hearts, you get the hair pull kick, where after you get an enemy to double over, you can grab them and do knee lifts to the face, throw them over your shoulder, that sort of thing. If you wonder why I'm still primarily using punches, it's because out of your regular attacks, that's what gives you the most points. Then you get 25 points for connecting with the bat. Oh, sounds like that Williams was about to do a jump kick. And now I can use the pin attack. That's when you get the opponent down. Well, you saw me use that in Renegade. It's when you get the opponent down, you can press down to get on top of them and start raining down punches on them. I still remember the first time I played this was so I had some friends who I took karate classes with, and they introduced me to a mutual friend of theirs, and he had this game at his house. My favorite game to play with those friends of mine was Contra. And eventually I got to the point, like in 1989. Now, bear in mind, I was still using the Contra or the Konami code back then, but I got to the point where I could beat it without anyone playing with me. My friends, I got to the point where I could do that before my friends could. But I think before the 80s were over, one of them could as well. So this is Chentai. He replaces Jeff from the original game. That's Williams. Most of the other characters are the same from the arcade game, with one exception. you'll notice how there's no option to play two-player. Well, you saw there was a two-player option, but it's not simultaneous play. If you play two-player in game A, it's two-player alternating. The one two-player simultaneous mode you do get is for one-on-one fights, where you can play as either Billy and Jimmy or any of the enemy characters too, which is pretty cool. You don't want to go too. You don't want to take this area too fast, because there's a total of 3 Chentais, and the safest way to deal with them is one at a time. And if you scroll it too fast, you can get 2 of them on the screen at once. Two Williamses or 2 Ropers are pretty manageable. 2 Chentais, less so. You see that spin kick? That's the most powerful technique in the game. By the way, when you get to 6 hearts, that's when you get the elbow smash. To use that, you have to be facing away from an enemy and you press punch. See right there, that was the elbow smash. It didn't connect, but that's what he was doing. And if you pick up a weapon and swing it right as it's about to disappear, it'll turn into a bundle of code. And one person wrote in one time and said, why does it look like it turns into a bag of flour? I forget what I think it was Game Players they wrote into and asked that. And the editor replied and said, well, that's not actually supposed to be a bag of flour. It's just like a bundle of code that looks that way. It's kind of a nightmare here having to deal with 2 Abobos at once. But connecting with those spin kicks, even they can't take those forever. Now, I messed up when I played through this game before because I just kept going to the right on the outside. And if you do that, it'll just go through forever. Good gosh. I got careless there. But you're supposed to go inside the cave. That's how the level ends up continuing on. Then you got to jump from one moving platform to the next. I've beaten this with no deaths many times. That's why I'm a little embarrassed that I lost a life in that stalactite area. All right, the Chentais are done. Then you want to enter that door. Then you just have to deal with a bunch of Williamses. So they're done. Now you just got to fall down here and avoid the boulders. Do your platforming. And here you got to deal with more stalactites. And you fall to the bottom. And you got to fight 2 of the green abobos, which canonically, though the official name of the green abobos is Me Bobo now. The first time I've ever seen that name was in Double Dragon Advance. But that is the official name of the green variation of a Bobo now. Then you go in this door. And you're in the final area of Mission 3. It's all Lindas here. You just got to keep fighting them until they stop coming. And I don't know if you heard it, but there was a door that opened up toward the bottom. You just climb to the bottom here. There would be a door with a Bobo faces on it. If there were any Lindas left. It'll only open once all the Lindas are gone. I hate that area. Oh, good, we made it. Now you got to deal with 5 Chentais. And as you can see, some of them come armed with knives. My health is this low. I don't mind using knives on them. Again, you don't want to pin Chentai until you've weakened him substantially. Because as you just saw, he'll just throw you off. If you try to pin him early. And with a Bobo, forget trying to pin him. You'll just go right through him if you try it. You can never do that to a Bobo. Speaking of a Bobo, you don't really have to fight him here, but I'm going to for the sake of points. Now see, that little hole in the wall that he knocked in, that's a farce. In Mission 3, you would want to go through those, but you can't here. Instead, you want to climb up this rock wall. Oops. Almost fell off the bottom there. No. How dare you? Uh-oh. Now I'm down to my last life. Done in by a group of ropers. Of course, they did have some help, courtesy of that wall. It's just so satisfying getting to throw them over the side like that. Okay, they've stopped coming. That means now I can go through this doorway. Now these Williamses will just keep coming through the door. There's not a certain number of them that you have to beat. Wait for it. Obligatory platforming section. Excuse me. Now see, if there's a Williams still on the screen, another one will not come up. Not until the first one is off the screen, whether because you beat him up or you just scroll them off the screen. And this doorway right here leads to the final room of the game. And you start off just beating up a bunch of Williamses. I think this is the last one. Nope, I was wrong. Don't do that. What you get? And now in this room, you gotta beat pairs of Shadow Warriors at a time, starting off with these two Abobos. No, no. How dare you? And see, if you lose it all in this room, with the exception of against the final boss, you have to do all of this again. What? Okay, he's done. But my odds of beating the game now just got a lot slimmer. Two Lindas, two Ropers. Willy time! Uh-oh. And he got me. That's embarrassing. Now, if you want to see the difference between the modes, let's see. We'll go with a Chentai battle. Good gosh, dude. I can't be that rusty. I find it easier to just keep kicking the CPU opponent until they call it quits, rather than trying to go for jumping attacks. I feel so rusty, though, but I guess I'm not rusty enough that I'm going to lose this fight to CPU Chentai. As you can see, the sprites are larger and more detailed in the one-on-one fighting mode. The only character whose sprite does not change is a Bobo. You can have an Abobo versus a Bobo match, but really, on 8-bit hardware, how is that sprite going to get any bigger or any more detailed? I mean, really. Got him. And with the exception of Linda, the CPU opponents will always start with more health than you. If you're fighting Linda, then the CPU Linda has the same amount of health as you. No! I wanted to play it in Supreme Master mode. No! There we go. In 19XX, violence ruled the streets of New York City after the nuclear war. Even with the crime syndicates growing bigger every year, two young men were brave enough to challenge them. While their names were Billy and Jimmy Lee, people called them the Double Dragons. And yet, the Dragons had one terrible enemy. To fight against him was the destiny and fate of the Double Dragons. One day, Shadow Warriors attacked the city, and Billy's girlfriend Marion was killed. The Double Dragons swore to avenge her death. Let's go, Double Dragons. Mission 1, into the turf. So these are Williams. So the reason I chose Supreme Master Mode is you can only play the entire game in Supreme Master. In practice, it'll only allow you to go to Mission 3. In Warrior, you can go as far as Mission 8. But to go to Mission 9, you have to play it in Supreme Master. These, by the way, are ropers. Just in case you wondered. And there are Lindas. See, that spin kick was what I was trying to do earlier. I'll take that. That looks dangerous. Now that the Lindas are all gone. There's a couple of knives that I never got to use. All right, dude. And here comes a couple more Williams. And they're armed with poles. Or pipes, rather. Much like the shovels in NES Double Dragon 2, you're able to swing those pipes or throw them. But now we've got to face off against Burnov. Ooh, that uppercut does a massive amount of damage. I mean, that spin kick does really good damage too. But the most powerful moves you have are that uppercut from the ducking position and the hyper knee. You saw me do that one earlier. That right there, that's the hyper knee. The uppercut and the hyper knee are your most powerful techniques. They're escaping in that chopper. You'll never make it. Mission 2 at the heliport. Frickin' really? Did you really just do that? This game's got a lot of nerve tonight. I don't even remember the game ever doing that to me, to be honest. That's what you get. Now, see, you got to be careful when you reach the top of this ladder here, because a chopper will come by. Yeah, you got to get out of the way quick so it doesn't shoot you. It's not instant death if the bullets hit you, but you still don't want it to happen. Linda's, Williams's. Oh, no, you don't. Nice try, but nothing doing. And these guys are called right arm. They take 6 punches to knock down. The rest of the enemies take less than that. I absolutely hate fighting these guys. That's interesting how the other one just like went off the screen. Hold it! You'll never escape from us! The chopper escaped into the neon-filled night. Mission 3, battle in the chopper. Now see, in this stage, the door of the chopper, as you can see, it'll open every now and then and it'll start pulling everyone towards it. And he's gone. And he's gone. Could be a quick way to deal with enemies is just get them to fall out the door. And there's Bolo. Uh-oh. One of my favorite streamers once referred to the Bolos in this game as Danny Trejos, and I can kind of see the resemblance, but that just killed me how that's how he referred to them. Well, thank you, Bolo. The chopper is landing on a mysterious island. Mission 4, undersea base. Some of the ropers here can throw, yeah, those odd-shaped boomerangs. You can't disarm those. Nor can you ever throw anything like those. Now we go underground, or under the sea, really. And there's something satisfying about uppercutting the enemies into the ceiling. And there's a Bore. That is actually supposed to be the big Arnold Schwarzenegger looking dude from the arcade game. You might be able to tell from his attacks, even if he does look more like O'Hara than he looks like a Bore. And I swear those claws are ripped right out of Contra. Thank goodness they can't kill you in one hit. That was close. Oh, there was no avoiding that knife. And here comes another Bolo. And unlike the Abobos in the original NES Double Dragon, as you can see, the Bolos can actually pick you up and throw you. Come on. Oh, gosh. Well, that run's garbage. Technically, I made it through, but there's no way I would win at this point. Now, see, I actually really like this version of Double Dragon 3. Like most people, I'm not a fan of the arcade game. Some people don't like this version of Double Dragon 3 either, but I like it. A year has passed since Billy defeated the Shadow Warriors. But a new danger has reared its ugly head. Marion has vanished. I am Hiruko, a friend. I have information about the girl's disappearance. Her captors will release her after you deliver the 3 sacred stones of power. Now see, if you're playing 2-player mode, that's when the now famous Bimmy and Jimmy error pops up. Listen, I tried to stop them, but they were too powerful for me. They're great fighters, but the one you must fear the most is... And then Brett just straight up died. Now see, in this game, among the most powerful pretty much the most powerful technique Billy and Jimmy have is the hurricane kick. Although they do also have a pair of nunchucks. But you only get to use them 5 times per stage. Give me that. Now, as soon as the enemy you're fighting gets KO'd, like if you get somebody to drop a weapon in this particular game, as soon as you KO that character that dropped it, the weapon's gone too. So you got to bear that in mind when you disarm an enemy. Whoa. Yeah. There's really no worrying about how you take the enemies out in this game because there's no scoring involved. Unless you just want to keep track of how many enemies you take out and what way you took them out. I'll take that. Jeez, I thought there were only 4 enemies here. I guess I must have been playing too much River City Ransom. Say hello to Jim, the younger brother of Willie, the guy who totes the machine gun in the original Double Dragon 1 and 2. This is his younger brother, Jim. And basically, after Double Dragon 2, the Shadow Warriors were just done. And Jim is trying to reestablish them. I have a book on NES games, and it calls him a Hulk Hogan lookalike. So we got rid of Jim. I'm sorry about your friend Brett. We must work together to avenge him and rescue Marion. Hurry, we must go before it is too late. We have a long journey. I have been told that the first stone is in China. Now see, the unique enemies to China, the guys in the green pants there, the one that just got KO'd, he can do a sliding kick where he does a jump kick and he'll slide along the ground. There's 3 types of enemies that can do that. He's the first one that can do that. The others are the ninjas in the Japan stage and the gladiators in the Italy stage. All of them can do that sliding kick. Ooh, that guy's got something. I want it. That's a sigh. Try these size on for size. I'm surprised he didn't do a sliding kick there. You might remember in Cobra Kai when Chozen used size in his fight against Terry Silver. And you might also remember them being used by Raphael in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. By the way, if it seems like it takes your character, like your character takes a lot of damage before he dies, well, you also only get 1 life in this game. That's a thing a lot of people don't like about the game, but personally, I don't mind it. All right, dude. Can you, like, not do that? Okay, I think she's the last one. And then the boss will come out. I have waited for this moment for a long time, Lee brothers. What's wrong? Don't you remember me? I'll remind you, before I destroy you. You killed my brother in your battle with the Shadow Warriors. Now get ready to feel the force of my revenge. My kung fu is without equal. And my gosh, does he do a lot of damage. This was one of those games that when I first beat it in the summer of 1991, I really felt like I'd accomplished something. Jeez. What took you that long to do a hurricane kick, Billy? Got him. I am beaten. You are the greatest martial artists in the world. Here is the first stone. Please allow me to join you on your trip to Japan. So now he's an ally. Thank goodness. The ninjas are quick, and they can do slide kicks. And they have throwing stars they can use. Thank goodness their sword and throwing star attacks aren't as powerful as you would expect. By the way, the color of the ninja's garb has no impact whatsoever on their attacks. They all fight the same. It's just for some reason, some of them wear one color garb, others wear a different color garb. Come on! I'm much better at pulling off spin kicks on an NES controller. Maybe I just need to do that more. By the way, that somersault attack, you're able to grab the enemies by the hair and throw them. But you can't do that to the ninjas. Okay. Maybe I just need to keep kicking them. I mean, that seems pretty effective. Too bad the ninjas don't have any hair you can grab. Well, they do, but it's hidden under their hoods. Jeez, dude. You just... There's a trophy for getting through the game only using Billy. That's why I haven't tagged out to Chin yet. All right, guys. Welcome, Double Dragons. You may have gotten past my men, but they fight like children compared to me. My ninpo is unbeatable. Come on, Billy. What'd you do that for? Once a character gets KO'd, you lose the use of them for the rest of the game. So now I can't play as Billy anymore. I am disgraced. I have tasted defeat for the first time. You've earned the second stone and also my respect. May I join you? It can now be told, I have always had the third stone. We must now travel to Egypt to free Marion. But before we do, we must spend time in Italy, practicing for the big battle. Yeah, that's the sliding kick I was talking about. The gladiator enemies here are the last ones who are able to do that. Good gosh. Trying to figure out how to do that. I used to call it a stair climber kick. Where he does that double kick in midair. What? Really? All right, this run's trash. Let's see. I know Kishimoto-san also worked on okay, let's see here. You know what? I streamed it before, but it's been a while. Let's play some Double Dragon 4. That's one of the more recent games that Kishimoto-san got a credit on. Forget how long it's been since I streamed that last. I do have a physical copy of this, but it's still in the shrink wrap, and part of me doesn't want to take it out. After overcoming the power of the Jinsatsu-ken technique, Billy and Jimmy set up Sosetsu-ken dojos across the U.S. to preserve the peace. One day, Billy and Jimmy were driving through the desert on their way to the West Coast dojo. Looks like we're going to hit San Francisco soon. Look out, there's a car coming up behind us. All of a sudden, the car slammed into them at full speed. Okay. What do we hit somebody with that? Not that I feel sorry for him, don't get me wrong. Well, that's kind of generic. The knives just like bounce off of them. Although it is really cool to see the old school sprites make a comeback like this. And it's like there's several characters in a different mode that that you can choose different sprites for. Like you can choose their Double Dragon 1 or their Double Dragon 2 sprites, which that's pretty cool. And of course, this is Billy's Double Dragon 2 sprite. And the way he fights kind of reflects that. We got Double Dragon 2 Williams, Double Dragon 1 Linda. Going up. Burn off. Well, that was easy. Burn off! What are you doing here? Just doing our jobs is all. What? Who hired you for a job like this? Jake of the Renegades. I probably will have to continue in this game, by the way. I don't think I've ever beaten it without continues, but I have beaten it with continues a few times. By the way, jumping is done with one button in this, as opposed to two like it was on most of the classic Double Dragons. Well, most of the NES Double Dragons, I should say. Just to clarify. Dude! I forgot he could do that. No! That's cruel. Shin Taime. Mission 2 clear. That guy must be Jake. Yeah, looks like it. Let's get on top of that trailer and make sure he doesn't get away. Billy and Jimmy jumped on top of the speeding truck. Anybody else? Oh. A jumping double hand clap. Well, at least that level was easily cleared. I know it's not going to be that way forever. There's no way you two brothers can take down Jake. Willie's dead, and now the West Coast is Jake's territory. You guys defeated Willie? Yeah, and it's all thanks to you guys taking down the Black Warriors. You bastards! Wow, dude. The return of those weird boomerangs. I'll take that. Yeah, right. Now, wait a minute. I had to think for a second what this gang is even called. But I remember now, it's the Renegades. Uh-oh. That sounds like boss music. Oh! At least I took down a Bobo before that happened. And we took down Jake. And Burnov is gone. Even if you defeat me, that won't save your partner. Huh? Partner? Wait, do you mean Marion? Marion, huh? So that's her name. I kind of feel bad for her. Bastard! What did you do to Marion? Meanwhile... Alright, this is weird. Okay, Double Dragon 3, Linda. Kind of interesting how both of Linda's sprites are used in this. Excuse you. Excuse you. Excuse you. I'm not even halfway through the game yet. Closing in on it. Not quite there yet. Burn off! Burn off! Now, who said you could do that much damage? I was hoping that was the end of it. Good gosh. Where's Marion? The Okada sisters have taken her in Japan. The Okada sisters have taken her in Japan. And they've taken a liking to her. Okada sisters? Who are they? They are the head of the Okada Corporation that controls Japan. Why are you after us? When you get to Japan, give Okada Tower a visit. Go there and you'll understand. The Double Dragon brothers headed to the harbor. I don't know that there's actually been a game where they've gone to Japan before. Uh-oh. Well, Burnov's apparently not as dumb as he looks. He didn't fall for those grenades. I was waiting to see if he would come back. Oh. Dynamite sticks. Why didn't you come down where I was? Scared? Maybe you should be. Oh boy. Whoa. Thank goodness they can be hit by those stakes too. Oh. Yeah, do that again. You, do just what he did. Well, ask and ye shall receive. Jeez, dude. Hey! Gosh. Good. Ugh, I'm not happy that I've died so many times. Hey, your boyfriend's gonna get to Japan soon. You excited? Why are you doing this? You know, I've always been interested in the U.S. That's where we're going to take over next. But before that, I've got to take care of the Double Dragon Brothers, of course. You're all insane. Casey, do we really have to do all this? Shannon, the reason our family was slaughtered was because we were too weak. Strength is everything in today's world. Shannon, you need to understand this. Goodness, I had enough time to put my water bottle down. These guys are tough. Okay, no jumping on top of there. That's disappointing that there were no other weapons inside that large crate. We're just a little past the halfway mark at this point. As in partway through mission 7, with where mission 6 is the halfway mark. I was about ready to say. Seems like those guys are I would think at first that they're doing a keto. But it's hard to... No! Gosh! If I'd have stayed off that conveyor belt, I probably would have survived. The Double Dragon brothers headed to Okada Tower on a bike they took from the Renegades. Stop using those boomerangs! I swear. Really? Okay, good. Looks like I at least took care of Captain Boomerang. Yikes. How dare you, game. Put me that close to an Abobo. Wait for it. I thought I was gonna fall to my death there. Well, again, brighter than he looks. But still not the brightest bulb on the tree. I think that was Shannon that just got away. Whew, thank goodness. Hey, Roper, or Ralph. Well, it actually should be Roper, but it's... I don't know if they're spelling it Ralper because if that's how they spelled it in Double Dragon 1 on the NES or not. Hey, Roper, where do the Okada sisters go? If you really want to know that bad, you should head to Rinka in Kabukicho. Okay. Nope. Man, this dude takes a beating. But we got him. Thank goodness. You got me. It looks like I'm no match for you. Hey, Tubbs, where are the Okada sisters hiding? The girls were waiting for you at the castle in Odawara. Billy, we need to hurry and save Marion. Those are not the Okada sisters, by the way. These are just flunkies of theirs. Got him. So there are steam jets coming out of those holes. No? This really looks like Ranzu's stage from Double Dragon 3. It's what it reminds me of the most. I don't trust you to fight fair. Jeez. I'm not happy with the fact that it's making me do a maze. Great. Stop it! I don't think I'm gonna beat this at this rate. So I got a total of 4 lives left. Maybe I've got a chance. Depending on what the next 2 missions are like. But the Okada sisters are really nasty. You blocked my attacks. I admit your techniques are refined, but you're still no match for the Okada sisters. But I shall reward you for defeating me. I'll lead you to the Okada sisters' private villa. Oh, crap. Since when is that fair? To have me face off against 2 Burnovs and an Abobo all at once. At least I've caught him in a configuration he can't escape from. Cool. Those red platforms make me nervous. Wait for it. Oh, no. So I was supposed to keep going right then and not go through the door. So I'm just going through this mess again. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Now. No! Oh, that was horrible. I was about ready to say. I think this run's dead now. Great, now we got bread slicers. Ah! So if they catch you at all, that's it. Marion, are you all right?
Billy, is that you? You finally came. I think I'm okay.
Where did they go?
Those twin sisters said they'd be waiting at the Bridge of the Gods, and then left out through the back entrance.
What? Oh, that's cruel. Well, that's it. All right, folks. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in. We beat one game out of all the ones we played tonight. I feel so rusty. But once again, I want to thank Yoshihisa Kishimoto for everything he did for the gaming industry and for bringing these games and many others. I would like to play Cobra Command for on stream at some point. I'm talking the Laserdisc one, which was released for Sega CD, not the NES Cobra Command. Totally different games there. But with that being said, it's time to find someone to raid before we go. You know what? Let's drop in on Cherry Blossom Shinobi, who is playing some Resident Evil. Actually, met Cherry briefly at TwitchCon last year, and I'm hoping I get to go again. this year. I feel like this year may be the last year I'll get to go, so I really hope it can happen. But with that being said, thank you once again to everyone for tuning in. And I will see you back tomorrow for Taito Tuesday when we play Arkanoid. But for now, Thunderfist 1978, signing off.